Yeah, we
Hey,
didn't
Connell.
find out much, hey, Geraldo, today on this. It's kind of staying the same for now. So what do you think should happen?
Well, I think the fact that they secreted him off to Louisiana, of all places, in the dark of night, really reveals the motive of the ICE and the federal agents. They want to silence this person. They make it extremely difficult. He can't communicate with his pregnant wife or with his New York attorneys. He's from New York. This happened at Columbia University in New York. He was arrested in New York. And then all of a sudden he pops up in Louisiana. Why? You know, ever since October 7th, Connell, as you know, you've been reporting it every single day, there's been this outbreak of anti-Semitism, this really vile kind of confrontation of Jewish students, harassment of Jewish students. You know, it has been a terrible time. The administration, I am very glad to say, has vowed to crack down on that kind of anti-Semitic behavior. But by doing something as ham-handed as this, by getting him out of the scene, and you know, he's not charged with any crime.
No.
He's a green card holder, which means he's a permanent legal resident, married to an American who's about to have a baby, 8.5 months pregnant. This really looks bad. It looks as if they're trying to suppress Connell, his First Amendment rights.
Right. It's exactly what his supporters were saying. What he's saying was lawyers saying it's a First Amendment case. Now, the administration, how do they push back on it? Well, let me let Marco Rubio do that. Of course, the Secretary of State on this issue about whether it's about freedom of speech. Here's what Rubio said.
This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way. These lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. If you told us that's what you intended to do when you came to America, we would have never let you in.
You say about that, Geraldo?
Well, I think that Secretary of State, I almost said Senator, Secretary of State Rubio misses one point. There's absolutely zero evidence that this particular person screamed anything at anybody, blocked anybody from anything, that behaved in any way that would violate either local laws or federal law, or even the principles on which he was granted, you know, admission into this country. He got a green card because he qualified for it. You know, this is a guy, I think, this looks, my mother always used to say, is this good or bad for the Jews? When it's bad for the Jews is, you know, you want the opposite. So here you have a situation where it appears as if pro-Israel forces are suppressing this person's ability to speak out his point of view. He's not saying kill Jews. He's not saying follow me as we bust through the window. He's been the mediator, as I understand it, the negotiator between the various groups and the.
Right.
I went to Columbia University
journalism.
No, I'm very proud of that. You know, they have been, you know, subjected to awful stress because of the anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic core of people they have there, but not all of them, and some of them have the absolute right under the United States Constitution and the First Amendment to let us know what they feel.
Right,
to
even
speak
if they
out.
disagree with
can't
you,
make
the thing
it
is, right, so they could say, you know, this guy, does he disagree with how you see the war? Maybe. Does he disagree with how someone else sees the war? Maybe. How does he get right? Can he express that without having sort of a direct tie to Hamas? We haven't seen evidence that he has sort of a direct tie to terrorists. That's what's been alleged, but I haven't seen evidence presented to that fact. Instead, it's become this left-right political debate. I don't know if you saw this today, but of course, Senator Schumer, who's the leader of the Democrats in the Senate from New York, is Jewish. Here's what the president said in the Oval Office earlier today.
And Schumer is a Palestinian, as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian.
What do you think?
See, that's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary insult. Just because the guy disagrees with you, you strip away his pride and his heritage. Right. I think it's the president has a way, God love him, of sometimes going over the top. And that was a totally over the top statement. Again, I say this, and I asked the president this too. If you're so confident in your case, why is he in Louisiana? Why is he in Louisiana? What connection does this case have to Louisiana, other than the fact that you want to inconvenience anyone who wants to talk to him and keep him in isolation? Has he spoken to his attorneys yet? You know, are any of his rights as a permanent resident being honored here? Has anyone thought about his pregnant wife about to have the baby? This makes the ICE and all their efforts look bad. This guy seems to me, just on the evidence as I see it, to be the exact opposite of the people that the ICE pledged to root out. The troublemakers, the criminals, the people who are dangers to American society. Instead, you got this guy who is being, a lot of the world believes, as Khalil believes, in terms of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Right.
But I happen to support Israel. I'm a Zionist. But still, I'm also an American, and I'm proud of my Constitution, and I abhor this attempt to silence this person. It is clumsy. It is absolutely unfair, and I call on them to reverse it. And first of all, bring him back to New York, and then take it from there.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.